What's up, everybody? Welcome to Aaron Ruins Music. Today we're going to be ruining the new album, The New Flesh, by the heavy metal thrash band Sylosis. This is their seventh studio album. However, they did take a break. They took a break. So there's a difference. There's two different Silosises at this point. There's the 2000 to 2016 Sylosis, and then they had it took a little vacation, and then they came back in 2019, and the difference in it more than anything else is the production. And I will say that kind of issue continues into this new album with their peak albums being Monolith and Edge of the Earth, which happened a very long time ago, about 10 years ago, before they ended up going on hiatus or breaking up or whatever. And when they returned, it was an exciting time, but they were just missing that flair. They had the riffs, the drums were still there, but the main issue kind of ruining it, at least for me, and I feel like everybody else, was the production. And I gotta start out by saying that is definitely the issue with this album. That's the main takeaway point that I feel like hurts us more than anything else. Their previous album, A Sign of Things to Come, was pretty good, but it just felt like it was missing something for me outside of the production. Other than that, I felt like the riffs were kind of lacking more than anything else. I feel like the drum work was there, the vocals sounded great, the lyrics are what Sylosis does, but it was just missing something that really grabbed you by the collar and pulled you in. Something that Sylosis was really good at doing, something that made them stand out. Like, they're a thrash band, kind of, but to me, they have like death metal elements to them. And I felt like that was missing from that album. And my hopes were that this new album, they were going to bring that back, at least in a few songs, because that's my favorite part of Sylosis. That's why Monolith is my favorite album from them. It has that kind of dark quality to it that I just can't get enough of. Beneath the Surface starts this album off, and it gets you ready with a super fun riff that I enjoy quite a bit. The vocals are great, but the chanting thing that they do in the verses are kind of meh. It's something that happens a couple times throughout this album, but to me it was barely noticeable, at least in this song. The post-chorus riffage will put hair on your chest. I just wish the bridge was a little better. I feel like they could have done something to just enhance it just a little bit more. I feel like the anti-human hook thing that they were doing is just a little cliche, a little too just overdone at this point. And then we have the song Erased. This one was one of the singles, and I feel like it suffers from that. Even though I feel like it's pretty good, it does have some single qualities to it. There isn't really much of anything exciting in the verses. The chorus is too generic sounding to really stand out amongst the verses either. Even though it's really hard to tell what this song is about, I think it's about anti-technology, which I feel like a lot of people are all about that, but it doesn't really come alive. It doesn't really get to the point too much until it gets to the bridge, which is too long. Like, for a 5-minute long song, I feel like it's just too stretched out. It kind of made it feel like filler. So it felt like a single, but at the same time, it just keeps going and going. Things turn around after this point too. When you get to All Glory, No Valor, the musical transitions in the song are so good, including the stompy riff in verse 2. They manage to just keep you on your toes with riff after riff after riff, and then random solos pop up and little lead guitar melodies. It sounds so good. This is what I wanted. This felt like old school Sylosis for me, and it just kept going with the next song, Lacerations, which has a haunting feel to it, something that I was once again craving. I absolutely love the chorus. The chorus sucks though. The music is super boring. The lyrics are just a bunch of cliche phrases strung together and like comparing emotions to just chemical feelings and then saying, "Feed me the lie." It's just something we've heard so many times. It could have been better if it was just reworked, even just a little bit. The bridge and pretty much everything else in this song though is absolutely superb. Mirror Mirror is a chunky groove metal jam. I don't care for the intro all that much, but once it gets going, it picks up. It gets really good. The best part of this is easily the pre-chorus though, thanks to the groove and the vocals. Unfortunately, we only get it once. Really, it's only the first time around. We get like a slightly different, heavier version of it in the bridge, which is pretty cool. But I mean, it's just like a tease, which is kind of cool because it's something you keep going back to the beginning of the song so you could keep hearing again. It definitely makes it able to be listened to multiple times. I really dig this song a lot. It had a Pantera kind of vibe for me. It was just a little bit more raw sounding, and like I said, it had that groove metal juiciness to it. Then we have the song Spared from the Guillotine. This one is super heavy, follows the same kind of style as Mirror Mirror, but just different enough to stand out to me. It doesn't sound like they're just doing the same song twice. The chorus is absolutely sick, and they keep that hardcore focus going in the verses. And this song, it feels long, but it doesn't feel like it's stretched too thin. It just keeps going in a way that you just want more of it. And like they even throw some squeals in there to kind of break things up a little bit, but it just keeps going, and then there's a squeal, and then it keeps going, and there's a squeal, and it's just so good. This is exactly what I was talking about, why the old school stuff that Sylosis does is so good. And I feel like even like halfway through this album, they're meeting a good happy medium of both of those things. Going through the back half of the album, we have Adorn My Throne, which took some time to grow on me. It's very mainstream sounding, but at the same time, it still has some really killer moments. The whispered vocals were just okay, but now I really like them. After multiple listens, I fell in love with them. I love the contrast between the whisper vocals and the growls. It just makes the growls hit so much harder. Even though like they're not that different from the other songs, just having the whispered vocals first, it just makes it hit. And again, it gives it kind of an old school vibe to it. It's not the best song on this album, but it went from something that I felt like skipping a lot to something that I was actually looking forward to hearing. And then we have the song The New Flesh, the title track, which was also a single. This one's weird because it's easily the best single. It has that hardcore influence going for it, kind of reminding me of, dare I say, Hatebreed, maybe. But the focus on this is mainly on the hook and the drums. And since they both don't really stand out that much, to me, it's a good sounding single because it doesn't sound like, it's like they wanted to release a single that didn't sound like a single, something that might kind of fit in with the deep cuts, but because the main focus is on the hook and the drums, like a single should be, but it isn't really that strong in that sense. I feel like it kind of fades into the back of the deep cuts. It's hard to explain, like, especially since like the hook and all that is just, it's repeated too many times. It feels like it's like the main attraction. It just doesn't really do it. The rest of the song is like, yeah, this is better than the other singles, but at the same time, it's like it doesn't stand out amongst the deep cuts. So it's just got a weird place. That's the best way I can describe it. And then we have my least favorite song on this album, Everything at Once. This is like the mandatory acoustic ballad, but it just feels so out of place on this album. Like it doesn't really fit in, even with the lyrical themes of anything else. It strictly feels like a butt rock shine down copy, especially since Circle of Swords comes next. Like you take Everything at Once out and it just improves this entire album. I don't have anything against the butt rock ballady kind of things, but this one just, it just doesn't work. I feel like that's not the direction this album was going, and it was too heavy. This wasn't like a Metallica kind of thing where they can throw in Nothing Else Matters and just make it work. This one, it feels just too much. It's too left field. It doesn't work. Circle of Swords brings back the same riff found in the intro, which is so sick. The rhythm in the bridge is so freaking good. This is probably the best song on this album. Super groovy, like old school Lamb of God groovy. Even the imagery and the lyrics are something that I enjoyed, which is not something I could say about any of the other songs on this album. And I also just love the outro, which is super nasty. Seeds in the River finishes this album off pretty aggressively, but it's kind of a weird song at the same time. Like it's got some cool melodies, specifically the vocal melodies in the chorus. This is the first time I actually find myself enjoying the clean vocals in this album. Not saying I don't dislike any of the vocals in the other songs. It's just like they were kind of mid most of the time. And I felt like these vocals don't feel like they're trying to just fit in with the scene and be a little mainstream sounding, if that makes sense, because The rest of the songs don't necessarily do that, but when the clean vocals comes in, it leaves you scratching your head wondering what you're doing, and you don't get that feeling here. But this song, it falls apart. It falls apart when you get to the bridge, which is just like a 2-minute long buildup. It's way too long. I felt like they could have cut that in half to 1 minute and incorporated the last minute into something else, or just done something else. Or maybe it hits the buildup halfway through and the last minute of the bridge is just this huge thing that just keeps going. I don't know. I feel like they could have done something to make it a little bit more entertaining, because every time I got to this and it gets to the bridge, it felt a little dreary. I was not looking forward to it. While I do have my complaints about this album, I will say I do enjoy it more than their previous one. I don't like completely love it a lot more, but I will say it is up there. They're moving in the right direction. They're bringing the thrashiness, grooviness back for sure. But the main thing I really enjoyed about this album is that they're bringing that darkness that I was talking about back. This has like a dark edginess to it. Sure, the clean vocals kind of take that away a little bit, but within the riffs, the verses, some of the bridges, it's just there and you could feel it. And I love that dark atmosphere that Sylosis can bring to the table. I mean, some of their best albums are 10 years old, over 10 years old at this point. They broke up in 2016. 3 years later, got back together. It's been 7 years since then. You know, they're not going to release another Monolith. I have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with that. But the fact that they're still incorporating just little nuggets here and there of their past selves along with the newer stuff they're trying to do, and it's working, that to me, it makes me so happy. I am so glad that this band is still around and they're able to do that, because it would suck if they just sucked. I'm totally here for where they're going. The main issue I have with this album is some of the songs fall flat. It feels like there's a lot of filler in here, specifically the ballads and the singles. This would have made probably a really sick like 5-song EP more than a full album. So with all that said, I gotta give The New Flesh by Sylosis a 7.1 out of 10. But I want to know what you guys think. Leave a comment below letting me know what you thought of The New Flesh. Let me know what you would rate it, what your favorite song is. Also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like. It helps out so much with YouTube's algorithm. I know I say that a lot, but it really is a thing. If you enjoy this video and you enjoy this style of music and you like it, it will show other people who enjoy the same type of videos that you do and the same music probably that you do. And it helps me out more than you can imagine. And I just thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to listen to me sit here and talk about music. My video has been taking kind of a hit lately since I've come back from my month-long break, give or take. And it's a little discouraging, but you know what? We're moving back up there. I appreciate you guys, especially the long-time fans who have been around for so long. And if you're new here, welcome to the channel. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you stay, and I hope you come back next time. And until then, I will talk to you next time. I hope you have a good rest of your day or night, whenever you have me watching this. See you guys later.